Hello, BookTube. I'm here to talk about what I read in April and what I TBR for May. My TBR for April did not turn out very well. I've read about half of what I set out to read. I knew I probably couldn't read it all, but I was hoping to read at least 10 more books, but that didn't happen, and that's because I've lost like 2 weeks and hardly read anything at all. 2.5 weeks, really, due to my COVID issues. But I didn't do too bad. Excuse me. I added a number of things that I weren't even on the TBR as well. So I'll go through them, and there's no specific order here to when I read them, and then we'll go into my TBR for May. Now, the first one on top here is it's Carmilla, that was in Glass Darkly by Sheridan Le Fanu, but I've got this wonderful. Yeah, there we go. It's a little better, maybe. Wonderful edition, published by Pushkin Press. It's a wonderful little edition, published in 2020. And it was originally published, the Carmilla story was originally published in the dark blue between 1871 and 1872. The dark blue was a magazine during that time. And it's a story of a vampire, female vampire, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I've talked about it on a number of things live that Brandy and I have done. So that was really enjoyable. Excuse me, I'm just going to pile these down here because I do need space for things. And then a couple short stories. This is The Vampire by John Paul Adori that was published in 1819. And this is in a folio society, but it's the same edition, I believe, as the Oxford World Classics. I think it is. Or it could have been the um, Penguin edition, but I think it's the Oxford World Classics. But this is where I read it from. It's a short story, and another short story was by Theodore Gautier, called Claremont, which was another vampire story. And this was all for a Vampril, an event that's not an event, but Brandy wanted to read, the Book Collectic wanted to read vampire stuff for 2 months, and came up with the name Vampril and Maypire. And I wanted to basically reread some stuff, but also concentrate on my Dracula collection, which we'll get to in a little bit. But that's hence the vampire material. This was supposedly a possible vampire, the Carpathian, or the Castle in Transylvania by Jules Verne. It says Back from the Dead, the original zombie story, and it's neither, but it was an enjoyable read. I did enjoy that. So put that down as well. Another vampire one that was 1819, a short one by Uriah Derrick Darcy, The Black Vampire, A Legend of St. Domingo, published, as I say, in 1819. It's American, written this under pseudonym. They're not 100% sure who the author really is, but it's set during the Haitian Revolution, and it's quite interesting. It's if you're interested in vampire fiction, this is an important book for that, because it's probably the first black vampire and first American vampire story as well. And then I went back to my second childhood and read another Paddington book, more about Paddington. Wonderful, wonderful stories. They're chapters, but they're basically little adventures he gets into. Um, it basically is short stories each chapter. And another one, these are ones that I read more recently. Another one that Brandy had bought me, some Goosebumps. And I read The Scarecrow Walks at Midnight, and I really enjoyed that as well. I'm gonna read more of these. We'll see, but for next month, what the other ones I'm gonna read. Um, and also too, something that I added at the last minute, or at least at the beginning of the month, at the last minute. I don't know why these things get gunged up. But Enchanted April by Elizabeth Von Arnhem, a book that I thoroughly enjoy, and I've read it on a number of occasions. About my fourth reading, and I really enjoy it. And for my Patreon, if anybody's interested, they can join Patreon. There's many tiers. There's a book club there that we do things a little different. And it's usually a description. We not a description. A poll of 4 books, and the members get to choose. But there's also a film group. There's a couple film groups. There's 2 different film layers. One I'm still working on to try to figure out how to do it. But one is that I choose a film, and then we discuss it in a Voxer group. And this month, April, was Beggars of Life, William Wellman film, but a Louise Brooks film. And I was reading some extra material, and I will be doing a video on this, but first it'll be for the Patreons that'll see the film or the video regarding this. But I had meant to only read the one chapter in here that I got bookmarked, her time with filming the movie, but I decided to reread the whole book, so that was another one. And I've got it's down at the bottom. We'll get to it eventually. I'm running out of space. I guess I'll put it there. I'll have to redig it out because I need to keep it for reference. And this was a gift for will Sean like it? Don Winslow's City of Dreams, the second of his Danny Ryan trilogy. And I read this, and it was probably one of the first, or the most recent published books that I have read in more than a decade, I would say. Maybe 2 decades or more. And I read it like within a week of its publication. Oh, you can still hear it cracking because I didn't open it up much to read. It was enjoyable. It was a fun read, very quick read. I've done a video on that as well. And this was the source material for Beggars of Life, hobo autobiography by Jim Tully. And this was very enjoyable, very dark, very, very dark. And also this fits in with the People, I think it was. There's a biography, People, April. So that fit in with that. But I will be talking about that in the video, the book to film video. And another one that was part of the possibilities for this month's Patreon, or for April's, I should say, because I am filming this on Sunday night, so, and to be scheduled for the first. The choice, well, it was basically books about booksellers, in a sense, bookstores. And the one that was chosen was Arnold Bennett's Reisman Steps, published in 1923, set in 1919, London bookseller. a curmudgeon and quite mean, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. It didn't go over too well with some of the members, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a second read, but I had also reread. I wanted to. There's three others, or no, four. No, yeah, three others. Three other books that I wanted to read, but I didn't get to. But I did reread Parnassus on Wheels by Christopher Morley. That was originally published in. Do you tell me here? Probably not. For some reason, I seem to think about 1918, 1917, and it's a very short book, but amazingly good. And I read the fourth book of The Dance to the Music of Time, which I wasn't too impressed with, called At Lady Molly's, but yeah. I've already ranted about enough about that in the video regarding it, and also for the French literature project or a reading event that Mark at Book Time with Elvis is doing this month was Cyrano de Bergerac by Edmund Rodstand, a play, and I had read this a long time ago, and I reread this just the other day, and I'd forgotten that he actually, like, he gets Cyrano de Bergerac to talk about sort of like a voyage to the moon that he had, and he might write a book, and that was the highlight of this for me in I think it was Act 3, I think it was. But I just thoroughly enjoyed that part, because Cyrano de Bergerac did write Journey to the Moon and the Sun, two different two novella types, and it's a really fun sort of proto science fiction book. Here's the other book about Beggars of Life, a companion to the 1928 film by Thomas Gladys. He runs the Louise Brooks Society online that's been going for a long time, called Pandora's Box. I think it was Pandora's, yeah. Pandora'sBox.com. Just tons of information about Louise Brooks. I remember when it was starting, and I've been sort of consulting it for decades now. I can't remember when he actually started it, but it's like way before I came to the UK here. So this is like a BFI film guide, and it should really be. It should be a BFI film guide. It may need a little bit of work and buffing it up a little bit to do a few other things with it, but it's approaching a BFI guide. And also, I read the next installment to Strangers and Brothers, The Light in the Dark, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I have no problem praising this writer and this series, and this is probably, if not the favorite, it's very close to my favorite book of the series. I think it's extremely good. It's set in Cambridge. It's basically more with Lewis Eliot and his relationship with a very intimate friend that has a mental illness, but it's the first time we see Eliot sort of confide in someone, and it goes from late 20s right up to the death of his friend in the Second World War. But yeah, it's it's an amazing series. I can't praise it enough. So I think that's it for what I read. So that was 15 books that I read. Some short ones, yes, but there was a lot that I didn't. Like, I didn't get to my Zola this month, so hopefully I'll be able to. I didn't get to my the Sacketts. and the Hornblower. So those have faltered. And also, I started reading Dracula, and that's something for the Vampiril and Maypire, which I'm hoping I'm putting everything on hold, and that's the next thing that like we'll start going into May now. The stuff that I'm going to read in is Dracula, and the reason why Dracula is going to take me a little while is because I'm reading, if you haven't already known, the annotated editions, this Klinger annotated edition, basically, and then every page of Dracula, there's about 10 or 15 extra pages that I'm reading, annotations from this and other another annotated one, and the Norton Critical editions, first edition and second edition. Because there's different material in it. So, and I had them because I had the first edition, and then I bought the second edition. So I might as well utilize it. And also, I can't forget Edgar's 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 Resurrectionist Book Club. Damn, because dead authors matter. And the two books that we're doing there, that he has chosen, are, if I can get the other one here, we've got The Mystery of Dr. Fu Manchu, the first Sax Rohmer Fu Manchu, and Sapper's Bulldog Drummond. So those two are coming up for May. And to continue with Mark's French literature is The Charterhouse of Parma. It's a new translation, it says here, by Margaret Malden, Oxford World Classics. It's already turning yellow, the pages, but I bought this used. So yeah, and Zola, I still need to read Money. So I'm hoping I can get this done. And then move on as well to The Dream, which is a bit slimmer. So hopefully I can get those done. And also I've got, as I say, the next Dance to the Music of Time, but I'm definitely putting this on hold. The only reason why I finished this in April was because I'd read a quarter of it earlier in the month, and then it sort of got put aside. But I'm not touching this until later. So if I don't get to it, I'm not too concerned with it. So we've got, we've got all that. Still fall. And then we got the Sackett. So there's Jubal Sackett, which should have been read in April. And then for May is Ride the River. Now, Jubal Sackett is quite big, but these are quick reads, so we'll see. I'm not too sure whether I can get all that done. I've also definite is The Masters by C.P. Snow, The Strangers and Brothers, so that's a definite. And I'll also be reading another. This will be for the two events, basically. There's Horror Mayhem, which I'm a co-host, and there are I'm gonna read a lot of short stuff, but there's a lot of horror stuff I'm gonna read, and this is for another my second childhood book quest. It's been sitting around for a while, but I thought I'd leave it for May, and it's The Little Ghost, so that'll fit in for under 250 pages. Another one that I definitely want to read is The Mummy by Jane Webb. Jane Webb Loudon, also known as. It's a longer book. It's over 500 pages, but it's written in 1827. It's not quite horror, but there's horror elements in it. It's more science fiction from 1827, so I'm looking forward to that because I've never read it. And also with Brandy, I'm reading the first, at least the Interview with the Vampire by Anne Rice, that she picked me up this omnibus edition of the first three Vampire Chronicles, I guess. Yeah. So I'll be looking forward to that. Hopefully. Another one that's been sitting around for a while. Empire the Vampire by Jay Kristoff, and it's for Will Sean Like It. So that's a bit of a honker. It's 700 pages. But that has to be read this month. And also too, I'm hoping to get after Dracula. I'll be reading the drafts of Dracula, and then Something in the Blood, the biography of Dracula, of Stoker, and then Dracula or the Undead, the play, hopefully, by Bram Stoker, and anything else that I can fit in between. Like, I've got some short stories of vampires that are here. Also, here, Christopher Frayling's Vampire, and I have a Penguin book of vampire stories and a few other things. And also for the Patreon club, book club, is The Inheritors. This was chosen, this month it was chosen by one of the members. So yeah, so I know that's rushed through things quite a bit, but that is what I will be doing in May and what I've read in April. Thank you, BookTube.